Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sam Robbins. Let me bring this down a little bit. Welcome to another live session. Can everybody see me, hear me? Let me go type in something right now. All right. So if you can hear me, say something. Hopefully you can. As you all know, I am not the most computer literate guy. So we are going to talk about, let's see. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? I don't know. Someone's telling me how this whole thing's a big hoax. Maybe it is. We won't know until the future, right? Awesome. All righty. Thank you, Roger. So today is going to be one of those controversial type topics. People just ask me, what do I think about the COVID vaccine and all that stuff? Thanks, Luis. Louis. So I've got a lot of thoughts. I'll let people chime in. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Today is going to be somewhat short, but maybe not. I'm sure things always end up taking a little bit longer because in part, thanks to your participation, which is always good. Right now, if you want to share it with some friends, go ahead. Let's get some more people in here. But today's topic is about COVID, the vaccine, or basically it's more specifically the SARS-CoV-2 vaccine. So actually, a friend of mine who works at the hospital, she will be getting her vaccine today. Hi, Mel. Love from India. Thank you. Love from the US. So where do we start? First of all, thanks to the FDA, I need to tell you that I'm not here to give you any medical advice today. This is just information on what I believe. Always speak to your doctor first before you do anything. They know best, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The FDA is your friend. They're always out to protect us. So always listen to everybody else. So with that said, okay, so some of the questions I have gotten regarding the COVID vaccine, and maybe I'm not even sure how I'm going to just go with it today. Should I talk about my feelings first? Let me know what you guys think. Do you want me to talk about my feelings first? You want me to answer some of the questions first? Doctors are really not your friends. Well, doctors start out being friends, then the system kind of breaks them down, and they end up just being very focused on dealing with the symptoms and not dealing with health, which is today, the main thing I want to focus on is for you not to just be dealing with the COVID vaccine or COVID in essence, or the flu or the cold or any of that. It's just basically how not to get sick. That's means to boost your immune system. I mean, for those of you who don't know, I had literally not gotten the flu in at least a decade. Basically, I don't even remember the last time I got the flu. I would say it's got to be 10, 15 years, heck, maybe longer. I can't even remember the last time I got the quote unquote common cold. But that doesn't mean that growing up, I wasn't always sick. In my 20s, I had this perpetual cold all the time. It's like every other week I was sick with a cold, and I had to learn to boost my immune system and do all the right things to boost it and reduce the negative things that kill the immune system. Okay. So, and another thing with, all this whole vaccine thing is that, so basically my situation with vaccines, something I want everybody to know is vaccines are the only type of drug that doesn't require, double-blind placebo testing and all those things that regular drugs do. So that in of itself brings a big question mark in my head, as well as it's the only type of drug that the pharmaceutical company can never be held liable for anything. All the other drugs are, vaccines aren't. Again, something else to question the validity, or you wanting to take a vaccine. Again, it's up to you. Why do I look like that, bro? Not sure what I will take. All right, so that's something to be concerned about. I personally have never taken the flu vaccine. Why would I give myself a little bit of the flu so my body creates antibodies and tries to boost the immune system? Why not just not get sick to begin with? And that's the main thing I want you to focus on. And every year they come out with another flu vaccine because the vaccine or the flu mutates. Now, what will that mean for COVID and the COVID vaccine? Basically, this, and keep in mind that this is a SARS type of situation problem, and they have not been able to come up with the SARS vaccine for 5 years. And Bill Gates was mentioning this at a TED Talk 5 years ago. So why have they all of a sudden come out with this amazing vaccine in 10 months, where normally vaccines take at least 10 to maybe 20 years? That's something to be concerned about. I know some of you are wanting to know what I would do. Again, this is my personal opinion. I'm not anti-vaccine, but I am anti-taking all these different vaccines all the time, especially when, they're giving so many vaccines nowadays, especially to kids, and they're giving them so many times. I've lived almost half a century, and we didn't have that many vaccines back then. The human body and the world hasn't changed that much in 50 years for them to be giving kids so many vaccines, other than it is a very big monetary benefit. So some of the things, regarding the vaccine, again, if you're in the medical field, maybe you're dealing, you're on the quote unquote front line, and you're going to be dealing with people all the time, doctors and nurses and so forth. I can certainly understand why you might want to get the vaccine or need to get the vaccine, because you're concerned about being around so many people who have it and you want to decrease your chances of getting it. I get that. But for me, why would I not do it? Again, right now, the vaccine only took a few months, and 3 companies came out with a vaccine almost all within the short amount of time, where years they haven't been able to come up with the SARS vaccine. And it takes decades to come out with a vaccine in general. So have they done it so quickly? Because the FDA's fast forwarded everything. In the old days, the FDA would take years to approve a drug, okay? In the past 20 to 30 years, they fast forwarded everything. And this is why now there's a lot of drug recalls and drug side effects that show themselves, a year or 5 years or 10 years from now. So is that something I want to risk with taking this vaccine that took the least amount of testing and was produced the fastest amount of time? Hey guys, chill out on negativity on the chat. All right. The one thing I don't have is guys. All right. Well, you guys are going to be bitching and moaning all the time. So for me, it's risky. If you're going to do it, my suggestion is you might consider, again, speak to your doctor first. The FDA is your best friend, but wait to see what comes about over the next year. First of all, most likely not all of us are going to be able to get that vaccine right away anyhow. They're not going to be able to produce it for the entire world, let alone even just for the US, for everybody in the next, year. So why not let someone else do it? I mean, the CEO of Pfizer himself is not getting the vaccine. So that's something to consider. All of this right now, I'll answer some questions, but right now I want to really focus on boosting the immune system. And there's going to be links below in the description area about what I suggest, different supplements to take. But one of the most important one that is very relevant also to the influenza, the flu vaccine and COVID and all that is vitamin D. Most people are deficient in it. And by the way, you should never take vitamin D without vitamin K. This is really important. Vitamin D, as awesome as it is, and there's the right form, it's vitamin D3. And again, there's a link below this about it underneath this video in the description area. But what you want to do is vitamin D, as great as it is, and I'll tell you why you need to take vitamin K, is it starts to build up calcium. If you take it by itself, it starts to build calcium up in the arteries and veins, and that can obviously, create plaque buildup, decrease circulation, blood flow, and might lead to a heart attack or stroke. So taking vitamin D, you also always want to take it with vitamin K. K2 is the correct form. Again, underneath this, I've got the best form, the best dose. This is what I take, my own family. Now, someone say, where's vitamin D typically from? You can get it from organ meats and whole eggs and so forth, but most of it is from the sun. Unfortunately, most people are deficient because we're not getting into the sun. And it's not just how long you're in the sun, it's also the intensity, not just the duration, the intensity of the sun. So the farther away you are from the center of the globe, the planet, away from the equator, the less intensity you have. And incidentally, there's higher flus in those areas away from the equator because they're getting less sun. Also, most people, we only get sun on our face. That's certainly not enough. You want it on your body. Now, there's a lot of factors that decrease the production and the conversion of the sun to the skin to make the correct form of vitamin D. Age is one big thing. Over the age of 55 or 60, you actually are not able to produce vitamin D by twofold. That's 200%. So right there, most likely you're going to need to supplement it. Drugs will reduce the conversion, statin cholesterol drugs, blood pressure drugs, blood sugar drugs, all those affect the conversions, and they also put stress on the liver. Anything that puts stress on the liver will also decrease the conversions of vitamin D to the body to produce it. Hey guys, I am going to block any negativity, and maybe I should have gotten a monitor. Put timeout. Let's do that. So, all right. Also, being overweight reduces higher fat, adipose tissue, reduces the conversion of vitamin D. So again, if you fall into some of the things that I've said, you are going to most likely be deficient. Getting a simple vitamin D test a blood test will tell you. It's not always the most accurate because it takes time to build up, but most of us are deficient. You want it I suggest around 75 to 100 is ideal. Anything over 150, some people say toxic, but ironically, there is no toxicity for vitamin D, one of the fat soluble vitamins, but maybe there is for vitamin A. So vitamin D is really healthy, boosts the immune system. You always want to take it with vitamin K. If you drink or consume a lot of high fructose corn syrup, which a lot of people do, that reduces the conversion. The other thing is it takes time to build up vitamin D in your system. So if you're sick, you can go ahead and up the dose right away, but it takes about 30 days to really kick in. So my suggestion is you start taking vitamin D right now. At the time of this recording, it's, winter here. This is also ironically when influenza and the flu season starts. Why? Because lack of vitamin D. Also, the cold weather kills the immune system because it's too much of a dramatic change. Most people are unhealthy. So you want to also take care of that. The optimum dose is around 5,000, maybe 10,000 units of vitamin D. Again, with the correct form of vitamin K. Again, all this is below. Another benefit with vitamin D as far as influenza and COVID is it really reduces respiratory issues, which is one primary problem when you get COVID. So taking a vitamin D also helps. The other thing you want to do is reduce inflammation. I've got a whole topic about that. Inflammation is a major cause that, again, will exacerbate any issues you have with the flu or COVID because of respiratory issues. I get it. Someone says, vitamin K in the food. Unfortunately, a lot of foods just don't have enough nutrients in there. A lot of dark green leafy vegetables have more vitamin K in it, so that's good. Organ meats are always good, but again, most of us are deficient. Unfortunately, the way the foods are produced, the way we eat these days, it's just, I tried to do it. I used to do everything natural and organic and all that stuff. I eat healthy my entire life, I've taken blood tests and it was always deficient. It was always low. And I thought, geez, man, how can it be? Again, eat healthy, but most of us will need to supplement vitamin D and K. As I was saying earlier, also you want to reduce inflammation. That's another big factor of just being sick and illnesses and all that is always leading to inflammation, inflammatory. Now, another thing with all this immune system I'm talking about, sleep boosts the immune system. You know, hundreds and years ago, when someone was sick, they would give them a sleeping potion to knock them out for hours and hours, like 12, 14, 16 hours for a couple of days maybe, and it cured them. They, whatever illness they had, let's just say they were sick or whatever, it just fixed them, because your body's immune system naturally fixes everything as long as you give it what it requires. This is a self-cleaning, self-healing organism as long as you give it what it requires. That's sunlight, that's fresh air, that's food, and water, obviously. That's no chemicals and pollutants. Obviously, another problem with this whole COVID thing is we're stuck indoors and we are social creatures. We like to see each other. And this is like odd for me. I feel like I'm just talking to myself, but we need the interaction. We need touch. We need to go and be among people. Okay. And that, when we're not doing that, our immune system drops. If you don't touch a baby, even if you fed it and, milk gave all the things that it requires a baby, the baby will typically die. It requires touch. Okay. So keep that in mind. Touching is very important. So, that's something else to keep in mind. So sleep, when I was talking about sleep, most of us don't sleep enough, and more importantly, we don't get the proper deep sleep. I've done entire topics about this. Again, my YouTube channel, if you're subscribed, good, you get the information. Again, more information below about sleep. But again, you want to go to sleep, preferably before midnight. When you're tired, just go to sleep. Me, I start to get tired around 9:30 or 10, and like a dummy, I like force it. I'm like, oh, let me just do this one thing or finish this one thing, and next I'm up. That up is stress hormones going up, which we don't want, and that decreases also melatonin. You want to decrease stress at night and increase melatonin. And melatonin, in fact, has a lot of health benefits. Again, I take a product called Deep Sleep Formula Melatonin, and melatonin boosts the immune system as well. Okay, you guys are fighting among each other. This is silly, guys. You're in my channel. You guys should be loving towards each other, at least positive. Okay, so some of the questions I've gotten. Can taking COVID vaccine mess up your hormones, especially testosterone? Nobody knows. There's another reason I don't want to take the vaccine. Nobody knows. Nobody tests for any of these things. It takes time to show it. Even drug companies know the problems and they don't reveal it to you until years later, when there's enough people demonstrating the problems, at least 2 or 3, maybe 5 years later, maybe 10 years later, and then they get sued. So again, you can't get sued for vaccine. This pharmaceutical company can't get sued for a vaccine that's improperly done because they're protected. This is another reason I'm waiting. Okay. Well, is it necessary if you are 18 to 30 and healthy? No, you're not. You shouldn't. You don't need it if you're a healthy person. So keep that in mind. The other thing, how many days does the immune system response after taking the vaccine? It hits you immediately. It's just literally like a flu shot. Okay. I mean, I'm simplifying it, but it's very similar. You take it, you get sore, you get a little bit of feverish and so on and so forth. And within a day or two, your body responds. You're going to feel a little bit achy and down for a day or two. And if your immune system is lower, it's going to hit you a little bit harder. So again, it's very similar to the flu, except it's just a little bit stronger and it's a little bit more, it's easier to catch. Again, someone asked, what are the long-term negative effects of the COVID vaccine? Nobody knows. Again, anything that comes out in 10 months 10 months. How much time have they really tested this stuff? Not like years, not even a year or two. They haven't done it. They said they've done 70,000 doses and so forth. All they want to do is the person alive for the next few weeks? Did they die? Oh no, everything is fine. But they don't know the long-term side effects of any of this stuff. So who knows? How long does it last in your system? They don't know, but most likely this mutates just like the flu vaccine. So probably you need to take it every year. Again, I don't know. Nobody knows. But it's already the SARS COVID-2 already, it's already mutated. It's already changed. There's many different forms of SARS. COVID-19 is just a new form that's more aggressive. So again, you need to probably take this every year as well. Would you recommend taking it? How safe is it? And most importantly, will you take it? I already answered this question. No, I won't be taking it. Again, that's my belief. Once again, disclaimer, speak to your doctor. They know best, blah, 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 blah. FDA is always your friend. And as far as is it safe? Don't know. Nobody knows. Taking something short term doesn't mean it's safe. You can smoke for a year. You're perfectly fine. You're not going to die. You can take drugs. You can take cocaine and heroin. No one dies, unless you overdose. Everything's fine. It's the long-term side effects that people are worrying about. You can take Advil, no problem, but you take it for an entire year, or Vicodin, or any of these toxic drugs, or they become addictive. Even any drug. Remember, my background's in endocrinology, which is hormones, and pharmacology, which is drugs. I know how potent drugs are, and they should be used short term. Every drug has a side effect. In fact, if it wasn't for the side effect, it couldn't be a drug. This is why I always try to do what nature gives us and try to heal your body with just natural means, food and stress management and correct liquids and supplements and herbs and so on and so forth, and vitamins and minerals. And by the way, vitamin D is so potent that it's really not a vitamin, okay? It's a steroid hormone. Okay, it's a hormone, it's a steroid. Yes, like testosterone. Yes, like estrogen. Yes, like cortisol. Okay, just because it's a steroid doesn't mean it's anabolic and so forth. Okay. As far as the mRNA vaccine, it works with transcription of your messengers RNA. So it's not. That's why they're also able to make this vaccine come out so much faster. Hey, Laney Echo, stop. Whatever. The actual ingredients also, in all fairness to Pfizer, it's really minimal. They haven't added any junk to it, or so they say. So it's really, it's a little fatty peptide that they put in there. It's like a fat droplet and saline, and it's pretty, as far as all the ingredients in it, it's pretty minor. So I'll give them that much. We don't know what other vaccines are. They say there's nothing in there, yet you find out there's all these other things in there. Again, who knows? It's too early to tell. If the method is effective to find cures for HIV or cancer, why this late? I don't think there are cures for HIV necessarily. I don't think there are cures for cancer or anything. I don't know what that means. Any information on vaccines in Iran is appreciated. We're all going to be getting the same vaccine ultimately, if that's what your choice is. Pfizer acted on it quicker, and there's two other companies I forget. In all fairness, I have money invested in pharmaceutical companies. Okay, so from a business standpoint, I want them to make money. From a medical standpoint, it's not something I would take. Okay. So I'm being fully honest with you and transparent. I could lie to you and say, yeah, everyone take it, because technically I would make more money because of my investments in biotech and pharmaceutical EFTs and so forth. But I'm not here to lie to you. I've always been honest with you what I think should be done. I'm very ethical. This is just how I was brought up. Is just thanks to my mom and my dad especially. So I don't want to lie to you. Again, I could make money by telling you to take the vaccines, but I don't want to. I'm telling you what I would personally do. Again, speak to your doctor. They know best, blah, blah, blah. Underneath this video, there's going to be a ton of information. Today's Unfortunately, today's video, I don't know if you liked it. All I saw was a bunch of, losers on my channel calling each other nerds and negative things, which is very unfortunate because you know what? All this negativity decreases the immune system. All right. So keep that in mind. So again, take your vitamin D with vitamin K. Below, there's this information. You want to reduce inflammation. Also, remember vitamin D and K. Underneath here, there's a description area. There's information about that. You also want to reduce inflammation. You also want to improve your sleep. You also want to reduce stress levels and cortisol levels because all that kills the immune system. Okay, the whole goal here is to boost the immune system. Just to let you know, some of the vitamins I take daily, for the immune system, I've got an entire formula for it that I give to medical offices, the ones who are open to it. But I'll give you some of the basics to keep your life simple. I take lots of vitamin C throughout the day. I take 10,000 units almost. I'm not telling you to take it. Take at least 1,000 units a day, spread it out, or preferably you take 1,000 milligrams, not units, milligrams, 3 times a day. It's water soluble. That's why you need to take it. I also take some zinc. Unfortunately for me, zinc tends to give me gray hair. I don't know why. I know it's not supposed to, but for me, it accelerates my gray hair, which is genetics. Zinc is also very beneficial. N-acetylcysteine is very good because it helps boost glutathione levels. Obviously, vitamin D and K is also the most basic of all forms. Those are just some simple stuff that I tell people to take. Vitamin C, vitamin D and K, and N-acetylcysteine and some zinc, NaC. Those are the most basic stuff. But again, reducing inflammation is dramatically helps boost the immune system. Improving melatonin levels, reducing cortisol levels, boost the immune system indirectly underneath. So again, all the information is there. Yes, I know. I'm gonna have to find someone moderate this stuff in the future. Anyhow, with that said, I hope today was a little bit helpful. I know this is a hot topic. And again, I just want to be as honest with you. As far as this vaccine, nobody knows what's going to happen a year from now, 5 years or 10 years. Okay. Nobody knows. So until you want to be a guinea pig, by all means, you trust pharmaceutical companies and the FDA, which is fine, or your doctor, who is the unhealthiest person around, go ahead, do it. It's your body, it's your life, action, reaction. It's whatever you want to do, by all means do it, but do yourself a favor and do some research. Don't just look at the pros, also look at the cons. Don't just listen to one person or even me, even though, trust me, I care more about my health than you could ever possibly imagine. But do your own little bit of research. And like any investment, take your time before you jump in and put all your money in, and then next thing you lose it. This is your health. Don't go all in. Try to do things naturally. All the things I mentioned today and underneath this video will help you. So with that said, thanks again for watching. Look at below this information. Anyone who wants to help moderate it, you can email me through my channel. Let me know. I would love your assistance. We'll work something out. And any other questions or topics you guys want me to cover, please let me know. Again, all of this is for you. I already know all these things. I'm doing it for you to help give you more clarity and allow you to get healthy and live a longer and more physically active and mentally alert life. So with that said, thanks for watching and wishing you a happy and healthy day. Bye.